Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 97 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. We're working through our spiritual soap. We're using the soap framework to first tell our story or our situation, our current versus our desired, which forms a gap that we're filling with the rest of the soap framework. Yesterday we brainstormed alternatives and options, O stands for options, that we could use to start to fill that gap. So there's my little list of brainstormed ones. Then we circled 3 because we're going to look today at the A in the SOAP framework. A stands for analyzing alternatives and taking action. It really stands for taking action or action, but in order to take action, we need to know what to take action on. There's lots of tools available for that, and I've got my magnifying glass, so I should grab that. There's decision trees, cost-benefit analysis. As a quality manager for almost over a quarter century actually, these are right up my alley. They're things I studied in school and I used throughout my career and I still use today. SWOT analysis, we've talked about that. We'll talk about that more. Pareto analysis, decision matrix, decision analysis software is available depending on how complicated the decision or choice is that you have to make. Then I use the plus and minus technique, and we've talked about that as well, that my dad taught my sisters and I when we were little girls. Pros and cons. Head, heart, intuition. I think we talked about that one last month. Nominal group technique. I was going to talk about that today, but we talked about it last year, kind of on the same topic, so I want to mix it up so you can realize that each of these techniques and tools can be used for any different area or aspect of our life. So today, we're going to do one with a bad name, but actually one of my favorite tools because it's so powerful. It's called the urine analysis. And urine stands for urgent, resources, important, necessary, and energy or effort. Now what we do is we can do this whatever way works for you. You can go from most to least and just rank them 1, 2, and 3 because we're going to analyze 3 alternatives. Or you can rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. So for things like effort and resources, the most would get a higher number. And again, the most urgent and things too would also get a higher number. So you can decide how you want to do it. Sometimes I do 1 through 10. It depends how complicated and how different the different things that I'm analyzing are. If they're really, really different, I'll use the 1 through 10. If they're pretty similar and I just want to rank them 1, 2, and 3 based on my initial thought and impression of that particular item, then I'll do that. So I'll probably do 1 through 3. I made myself a little grid. I put my 3 criteria here and then URINE, and then I will total them up. And interestingly enough, I've never had a time where I got a tie in the things I was analyzing, and that's pretty, I guess it speaks to that it's a good model because it forces me to really think about what's the most urgent of these 3 alternatives. What's going to require, what resources are required, what's the most resources, and are those resources available? Is it important, and is it important to me or the situation? And then necessary. Sometimes people think, well, aren't necessary and important the same thing? Absolutely not. It's necessary that our house gets cleaned and the garbage gets taken out. I don't know what. But is it important that I do that? It's both important and necessary, but is it important that I do that? It's not. It's important to me that it gets done, but I don't have to be the one to do that. And that ties into our energy and effort. Necessary means it needs to be done. Somehow it has to get done, but how I go about getting it done is totally up to me. It doesn't mean I personally have to do it. So that's the breakdown. That's the grid that I like to use. That's a tool I recommend you try today if you haven't ever used it before, because it will really help you to decide what are my alternatives, what are my 3 alternatives I picked yesterday, would this work best for? So for example, I put, remember my spiritual growth goal is to heal from brokenness. Now I had to define before I even came up with what's my current story, what's my desired story. And part of that exercise helped me to define what that means for me. And what it means for me is probably totally different than what it means for you. But I put, my first one was counselor or shrink, go talk to somebody. My second was journal it out and use prompts like from Lynn Grabhorn's book, You Can Heal Your Life is Louise Hay. Excuse me, Your Life is Waiting. There's some really powerful exercises in there to do that. And then finally, I could share the experience in some way, shape, or form in order to just get it out of my system and to share maybe 4 or 5 experiences that I felt like I was broken in, and then how I recovered from them, or how I am recovering from them. So that's our assignment today. Take your 3 alternatives, run them through the urine analysis, and pick which one you're going to act on, and then take some action on it today. Any questions? Hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.